Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, Megalopolis has opened. It made 4.9 million and is now considered a flop, the biggest flop of the year and one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history because it cost 120 million and so far has only made 4.9 million on its opening, and it's not, well, it's unlikely to increase. Some films have. They started low and word of mouth has bumped them up, or they just had legs and they sort of made a small amount of money for a long period of time and sort of made up for it. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen with this film. It was fairly obvious early on that this film was going to be difficult for people and was going to struggle because it was not conventional. And Coppola, I don't think he for a second planned to make money out of this film. I think he just wanted to make this as a work of art, and he tried to get it made through the studio system in the 70s and 80s. I think 83 was the first time it sort of got scripted and was looking at being done. 89 it got close to being done. 2001 it was supposed to be made, but the events of September 11, some of the story elements were similar to what was in the story, so people got scared and backed away from it. And I think he just concluded, I'm just going to have to pay for this myself. He sold his winery, his vineyard, and just decided to pay for himself. He had to pay the distributors to show it in the cinemas. No one was willing to invest in this film because no one believed it would make any money, because it seemed to be just a work of art that this artist wanted to create, not entertainment to make money. Because that's the thing with film. Some people see film as an art form, some people see it as entertainment to make money. Usually the business side of things, that's why it's film business, show business. So no one's surprised, but at the same time, considering all the reviews were, oh, this is a disaster, or this is confusing, or we don't know what this is, we can't understand this. Who's going to go see a film when everyone is saying, oh, we don't know what this is, it's a mess? Obviously, they weren't helping the film. My sort of view of reviewers is they should understand film, they should have studied film, they should know how to analyse film, and they should be able to interpret film for the public and tell them, go see this film because you're going to get this experience, because that's what this work of art is. If it's not just a straight, by numbers entertainment sort of film. And they didn't do this here. No one sort of analysed this film, understood what it was, and communicated to the public what it is. Most people were saying, oh, I don't know what this is, I can't tell what it is, what is it, how do I sell this, And people saying, the previews don't explain what the film is, so why is anyone going to go see this film because they don't know what it is? So I'm not hugely surprised it didn't do well because of the way it was reviewed, I guess. But it has come out, and some people are saying it's great, and some people are saying it's a work of art, and it's about contemplating society and our culture and everything, and that has a lot of depth and a lot of artistry and symbolism and surrealism and just all these different elements, and that it wasn't at any point attempting to be a standard commercial film. And part of the problem is people don't know how to read films as art. They don't know how to, they can only read films through their understanding of literature. Like, the story, the plot, the script, the writing, the dialogue. They often don't know how to view a film as art. And also the subject is an issue. Usually people only relate to films that that is their world being depicted, a straight patriarchal society, capitalism, all the things that they are told is normal. And anything other than that, if they are showing things from a female perspective or from the perspective of a minority or some other story or element that is new or different or diverse or underrepresented, then people won't know how to view it. They'll get threatened by it because it's not showing them their world. And a good example of that, one film that's considered one of the greatest films in history is The Godfather. And part of the reason why I think Francis was not afraid of putting this film out is because his legacy is secure. He could handle one giant flop, considering his history. And The Godfather's boring. I'm sorry, if you're not Italian, or if you're not, if you don't, respect or admire the sort of patriarchal religious norms of America at that time, it's a boring film. If you're not invested in it or not familiar with it, or it's not your world that's being depicted, it's just a boring drama. And people praise it so much because it's their world, and it's like the best crafted depiction of their world that there is. So they think it's the best film ever when it's really not even it's not, I guess it's a great film. But in the same way about a million other films are great. But yeah, so I find it disappointing that less reviewers and critics weren't able to view this film, interpret it, and explain it and communicate to people what it is. Instead, they just were limited by their literary limitations and just said, it's not entertaining, it's not something I can decipher easily and quantify easily and put in a category in a box easily, so I don't know what to do with it. That's basically what happened. But I think Francis knew that's what was going to happen. And I think he's okay. He knew he wasn't getting his money back. He decided just to spend this money to make this art, to put it out there because he wanted it to exist. And he wanted people to see it. And he didn't care about the profit. So I don't think it's a failure on that level. I think it's exactly what it was meant to be. But we'll see.